Hi, Brad. Tonini here for New Selling, all about how we crank up the selling machine in terms of selling strategies moving forward. Today, I want to talk about the future of networking. Let's face it, it's harder to get face-to-face with people, and what's that going to look like into the future? Networking's taken a massive pivot in terms of how we now go to functions virtually, and maybe that's going to be part of what we do in the future. I want to talk today with Wendi Dawson. She is the president of the Melbourne Business Network, and she is the best person to talk about in terms of what networking looks like now and what it might look like in the future. Wendi, I'm guessing you've taken an enormous pivot in terms of what's going on out there.
We have. The Melbourne Business Network's been going, I think, about 25 years or so. And, we have a long history of being a face-to-face networking organization that thrived on getting our members and community together with face-to-face events. So whether it's breakfast or, after work functions. And, and when you find yourself in the middle of a pandemic, you can't engage the same way. So as an organization, we've moved online. And that's been an interesting learning curve for us, because everything's behavioral. We get used to doing things the way we've always done it, etc. But now it's engaging with our members online, and it's been really interesting. And I'd have to say that, we will, even when we do have the ability to get together face to face, we're still going to have that online presence, because it allows flexibility for our members and community to engage with us and not fight traffic, or if they've got something, other commitments. It just gives a lot of flexibility. But networking, wow, it's never going to go away, is it? It's so important to organizations, and it's not about, showing up someplace and seeing how many business cards you can grab, because, that was never relevant. But I do think about that genuine connection that you can help between business owners or business leaders. But also that role that education plays. And if I think about the events that we do try and do an element of the networking piece, but also giving people tools that they need now, whether it's information on sales and marketing, or how do you promote your brand on LinkedIn? And we're also doing a massive series on mental health, which, we are all being impacted by what's happening locally and around the world. And most of all, you need to make sure that you're keeping, the real estate between your ears, functioning properly. And that means checking in with yourself and working on your resilience, and also understanding when you're stressed and what you need to do. But anyway.
Well, you and I are both half full sort of people, and I guess when I think about networking from your point of view, there would be some pluses in terms of where we are right now, in terms of people being able to dial in and be part of a networking function. Whereas in the past, let's face it, you would have had people sign in and then not be able to show because of the weather, caught up at the office, couldn't get away. Now there's a lot of benefits of just dialing and doing it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it is something that, once again, it goes back to what I said before, it's behavioral. We've always done it this way, and it's the way it always needs to be done. Well, quite frankly, if you really want to grow your network, having an online component to that, I think, is important. And I think it's, and as we move to face-to-face events, and hopefully we'll be there in, July, depending on, restrictions and how well we are as a community at managing what's happening. It'll be really interesting to see. I actually showed up, because I saw you on the webinar, and I wanted to meet you face to face. So I think there's going to be that, because you and I have talked about this before. Regardless of what's happening, the sales basics aren't going to change. And what's really important, that people want to buy from people they know, like, and trust.
You better talk my language.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the importance of networking is more paramount than ever. And I think it's around, understanding, for your network, for your group, who are you in business for? What are their needs? Are you staying relevant to those needs? and helping them achieve. So that for us is what we've been really focused on over the last, well, really since this, since since we found ourselves in this position since the beginning of the year.
So are you doing a variety of things in terms of not just information, but also that time of the day when people might be able to kick back and grab a glass of wine, and if they want some cheese and crackers, and actually try to relive being in a networking function at the same time? So you're varying the times and days and things?
Yeah, you do. You do have to do that. And I think one of these things is that it's just accepting the fact that not every topic's going to appeal to everybody. And for us, we've made all of these complementary because we don't want to, I think really it's important that you actually, give at this time because people need information, they need help. And there's a lot of experts that we have access to that can come on board and in 40 minutes or so you kind of go, yeah, I actually, I do need to do something about that, or no, actually I'm sweet. But, so it's varying the topics and absolutely varying the dates and the times, Thursday afternoons used to always be the thing that, Thursday after work, where a lot of networking events were held. Well, if everybody's scheduling their Zoom call or webinar at that stage, well, it's not really going to work. So we are doing a variety of different things, and we're hosting one this afternoon at 4:00, and we're backing it up with 8:30 tomorrow morning. But they're on different topics, and they're going to appeal to different audiences.
So tell me, I'm just really curious. How many would you get on a call for a networking function at say 4:30 this afternoon?
Well, it's going to go anywhere between a dozen and 4 dozen, really. It really kind of depends on notice period, the promotion that we've done, but also word of mouth. Because once you kind of get in the groove of delivering quality events, people are going to come on board, and I think that's what we've been able to do. So we've got a number of people are on this afternoon, and we're backing up it with that same number in the morning. So and both of those are probably sitting around that 4 dozen mark. So I kind of go, that's not bad, because if you get too many, then it becomes almost unmanageable from actually allowing that the gallery to connect, if you will.
Actually, that was my next question, because I'm just curious. So you actually have someone maybe presenting a topic or an area of expertise, and then what do? Do you open it up with a gallery and people ask questions of each other, or they can't kind of exchange business cards, can they? But what do they do?
It doesn't really go in there, does it? No. I think for us, it's not micromanaging the presenter. So if they've got a laid back style, we've got people that just come on and talk. And if there's questions that come up either in the Q&A or the chat box, they're going to answer them then and there. We've got other people that are probably a little bit more structured in how they present, because they might share their screen. And then at the end, you'll facilitate a Q&A session there. So it really kind of depends on what the presenter wants to do. And then we certainly encourage people to connect and have that opportunity to ask questions, of one another as well. So I think it really probably depends on what's the subject, how does the presenter want to do it, and then really, how can we make this to be, a great experience for everybody.
I would imagine that comes down to the skill of the facilitator too, in terms of the person who's hosting the function. If there's this person presenting and there's someone to the side sort of working the mechanics and talking to the people as they arrive online. And I ran one of my Friday schools of sales just the week before last, and you see them come through and the participants, and you welcome them all as they come in, and you've got to really have your wits about you in terms of being a facilitator. But that person in a networking function is trying to connect some dots too, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. And I think, I kind of look at, the analogy, it takes a village to, raise a child, and there are some really great webinar programs out there, but they're also probably on the pricey end. And we're probably, what can we do with, some, maybe it's the business offering from Zoom, which I think is a good price point. And you can do, clearly you can do some pretty amazing things with that. But, you know, my advice to people who are considering, you know, hosting a webinar with, you know, with attendees is make sure you've got one person that is just running the technology, you know, allowing people into the call, and then you've got a facilitator who basically has the run sheet and does all the welcoming and facilitates the Q&A, etc. And you know, it's always one of the things I think is it takes you have to allow ample time for people to type in their questions.
Yes.
If you know, if you have so many people and you can't have everybody unmuted at the same time, because at times you kind of go, okay, are there any questions? And then, you know, you kind of go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. All right, great. No, but people are actually typing. And so it's just, you know, making sure that you've given people enough notice to do that. And I think, you know, and yes, that does come down to the facilitator to kind of be, you know, used to doing all of that. And our executive officer for the Melbourne Business Network, Anita Patel, has been, you know, really great at pivoting quickly on this and coming up to speed, because she's the guru on face-to-face events, and now I can say she's you know, she's actually come up to be the guru of online. And but I'm hosting the one tomorrow morning, so it is a, you know, you just need to get in there and do it, you know. And it's the old axiom: people are showing up because they want to be part of a community, they want to hear, and they're not sitting there grading your technique.
Actually, it's a really, really good point. I think that people are very forgiving about the fact that, okay, we're on this journey. I can see you're bringing this together. I can see you're helping members. I can see you're value adding. Okay, let's not worry about giving you an A+ or a B-. That's not what it's all about. But engagement is fundamentally important in terms of that online presence, isn't it? You've got to make sure that people are engaged for the whole time and they're actually staying with you.
Yeah, and it's this is probably where, whether it's online or face to face, this is the same thing. And you and I have spoken at length about this. It's about that authenticity, isn't it?
You bet. You've got to be transparent, credible, and authentic. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So here's my last question for you today. I just want to jump in and ask you this question, because it's something that I think is really important for people seeing to the future, and that is, how do you see networking moving forward? Okay, so let's assume that we get back in the room in July or whatever it is, and you're running your normal functions. Do you see an offering that's going to be continuing to be both in terms of online and face-to-face?
I think for us, yes. And the reason for that is you can reach a lot more people digitally than you can face-to-face. And what we are getting, we're being much more sophisticated, as you know, with our particular group, about how we actually use digital, because you're the grandmaster in all of this, and you know how you can, you know, take video and you can slice and dice and, you know, get a 90-second spot out on LinkedIn, and how you drive traffic to your website. All of that we're coming late to from, you know, from a Melbourne Business Network point of view, but we are so onto it now. But it's the content, it's the way that our members also want to engage. So we're never going to move away from face-to-face, because it is about bringing people together. And I think that's a really nice thing about Melbourne, is that Melburnians do enjoy connecting, all of that. And, you know, and the organic nature of face-to-face, you're never going to replace with online. But I think in terms of, you know, I think every organization, whether it's a networking organization or even just a sales organization, you should be face-to-face, but you should also have that element of that digital, because people just want to get, it's an avenue to provide insight and value, isn't it?
Well, you know, I love what you do. And the thing is that I can only see for members of the Melbourne Business Network, this is all good stuff, because it's like, okay, face-to-face and your online event, you're getting more bang for buck. That's the basic fundamental moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we're totally excited about how we can do that. And we also have our business awards, which kind of taken a little bit of a back seat, but we're going to be ramping those up more and more as we pivot into the new normal. And I think that awards aren't kind of something that people want to talk about at the moment, but You know, if it's a way to showcase what it is that you've done, your organization, and to get some recognition, awards are a brilliant thing. So keep an eye out for the Melbourne Business Network's B3000 awards.
Fabulous. Oh, well, Wendi, thanks so much for your time today. It's been great talking about the future of networking, because I think a lot of people are actually wondering about it. They're going, okay, what does that look like? But to me, I can see only a lot of pluses in terms of both face-to-face and online.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
This has been Brad Tonini here for New Selling Today, talking to Wendi Dawson about networking and the future of what it might look like. Thanks very much.